All right, we are in Chapter 10, Section 2. Describe the translation of the graph y equals x squared that produces the graph of the given function. Here we're reviewing x minus h, sorry, where our vertex is h comma k. The h means left, right, and the k means up, down. And you remember, if there is a minus here, the value h means to the positive side, and if it says x plus h, it means that we're moving to the negative side. Okay? So here, we're good there. This means I'm going up 2. We're good here. This means I'm going down 5. And we need this for this lesson. That's why we're reviewing it, right? Here we're inside the parentheses. That negative is there, so I'm going right 1 unit. Here, this is a positive. That means I'm going left 3 units, and that means up 4 units. Okay, sort of remember what we're doing here? I believe there should be a little squared there. Cool. Now let's go back to our trig stuff. So first, we're going to graph a vertical translation. I've got my parent function, which is a sine bx, and now we're going plus k. So we're going up 3. So I know that a is 2 and b is 4, so I can figure out that my period is 2 pi over 4, which is just pi over 2. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is graph, except I need to go up 3, so 1, 2, 3. This is going to be my new horizontal axis. And then, hold on. So this is going to be my a equals 2 and a equals negative 2. So that's what I'm going to oscillate between positive and negative. All right? So let's figure out our 5 points. I'm going to do this a little bit different today than I did in the last lesson. I know that my full period is pi over 2. I'm going to go ahead and split this into 5, or get my 5 points out, split it into 4 pieces by cutting that in half. So that's pi over 4. Cutting that in half again, pi over 8. If the fractions are confusing you, just grab your calculator. It's fine. And this one's going to be 3 pi over 8. So now we've got all our points. I'm a sine function, so I start here, and then I go up, back to the horizontal axis, down, and back to the horizontal axis. So it's a little bit easier than what I taught in the last lesson, since you understand the reasoning behind everything. I'm skipping a few steps. Okay? All right, let's try another one. Here we're going to do cosine. I know that a is 5, b is 2, and this here means that I'm going to shift, right. It's x minus h. So here I'm going to shift right 3 pi. Okay, so I'm going to do this one a little bit different also, so just follow along. My period is 2 pi over b, so it's pi. That means my 5 points, I'm going to go from 0 to pi, cut that in half, cut that in half again, and cut this in half. Now I'm going to shift it right 3 pi. So I'm going to add 3 pi to everything. So 0 plus 3 pi, pi over 4 plus 3 pi. Oops, sorry. Add 3 pi, 3.5 pi, 3 3/4 pi, and 4 pi. So that's how I'm going to graph it. I just added 3 pi to everything. It's not going to be enough space. I want to go ahead and get the origin in there so that I know that I've shifted it, so that when someone reads my answer, they know what happened, really. So if I'm at a period is 1 pi and I shifted it plus 3 pi, my whole answer is going to be over here. Now I'm not shifting it up or down any, so I didn't leave a ton of room, did I? I'm at cosine, so I have A is 5. Let's make those smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to start all the way up here. Nope. I'm going to start all the way up here, come down, and then all the way down, back up to the top. I really don't like that, sorry. You have to believe me that a stylus is not that easy to do this stuff with. So I wanted to graph my 1 period that is shifted right 3, so that's why you only see that part. So it shows that I've shifted the whole thing right. I mean, I'm well aware that I could totally keep this going and up to this point, this right here is the part you would have graphed for me. But I want to know that you've shifted it right 3, so this right here is the only part I actually need to see. Right. Ferris wheel. Suppose you are riding a Ferris wheel that turns for 180 seconds. That's our rotation. Your height h in feet above the ground at any time t seconds can be modeled by this equation. Graph your height above the ground as a function of time, and what are your maximum and minimum heights. So here we know the amplitude is 85. B is pi over 20. So my period is 2 pi over 20, or 40. Oops, sorry about that. The wheel turns, this is interesting, the wheel turns 180 over 40, because that's my period. So the wheel turns 4.5 times every 180 seconds. Okay? So really, if I look at this graph down here, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 times. Okay, that's what my graph is showing. So this right here is 40, so that's our period, 40. This right here shows that I've shifted up 90 and right 10. Essentially, what we see here, 30, 60, 90. Yep, this right here is my horizontal axis. So the sine function starts at 10. Okay, right there is where the sine function starts, because the sine function always starts at what you would think would be the origin. The origin has shifted right 10. So the first part, graph your height above the ground as a function of time. So that's what we just graphed here. Cool? What else can I point out? So I know I start at 10, 90. A period is 40, so it should be over here at 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this right here is 1 period. We have our halfway point, our maximum, and our minimum. So this right here is what I would have graphed as far as 1 period is concerned. Awesome. Those are my 5 key points. Now the second part of the question asks, what are your maximum and minimum heights? If we start out at 90 and we have an amplitude of 85, we're going to do plus 85 and minus 85. So my maximum is going to be 90 plus 85, which is 175, and my minimum is 5, which would be 90 minus 85, correct? Cool, so 175 feet and 5 feet. Now I do have a few guided practice questions before you're done. There are 3 of them, so let's do 3 more problems, and you can start your classwork. So graph the function. This is what I do every time. A is 1, B is 1, and I'm going up 4. So my period is 2 pi. I'm going to graph here, 2 pi, pi, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2. So if I'm going up 4, 1, oops, sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, I didn't leave much room, did I? And I can't move that. So that's going to be my new horizontal axis. So my amplitude has to be up 1 from that. So this is my positive amplitude, negative amplitude, even though I'm well aware it's not actually negative. It's a cosine, so I'm going to start up here, go through the horizontal axis, down, back up, and up here. So I found my 5 key points. I'm at a plus A, a minus A, and my horizontal axis has changed up 4. Here I have, A equals 3, B equals 1. I'm going right pi over 2. My period is 2 pi over B, or 2 pi. So I'm going to list out my 5 key points. And add pi over 2 to them. So this one's going to be pi over 2. Pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is pi. 3 pi over 2. 2 pi. 3, 4, 5 pi over 2. And graph that. Didn't mean to do it in red. So I've got my key points. This is a sine function, so I start here. A is 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up 3. Back to the horizontal axis, down 3, and there. All right, last one. There should be an equal sign there, right? So A equals 1, B equals 1. My period is 2 pi. I'm going down 1 and left pi. So if I get my 5 key points, and I subtract pi from every one of them, I'm going to have negative pi over 2, 0. Let's see, I would be at 3 pi over 2 is 1.5. Yep, so subtract 1 and give me pi over 2, and then just plain old pi. So if this is 2 pi, pi, negative pi, pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and negative pi over 2. My amplitude is 1. Ooh, I do shift down 1, so let me fix those. Let's do this. So this is my new horizontal axis. So here I have A and negative A, for lack of a better way to do it. Graph some points. Negative pi, this is a sine function, so I start here. I'm going to go up. Oh, nope. Aha. Up, down, down, and back up. There we go. Awesome.